Welcome back everyone to my channel. If you're new around here, I make videos for anyone who's looking to try and improve their chess. And basically what my channel's about is about someone who's probably around your rating, looking to improve, and I'm just teaching you how I'm kind of improving, telling you what I'm doing. So if that sounds interesting, consider subscribing. Anyway, in today's video, I'll be telling you the 3 things I did to go from beginner to amateur. Now, it wasn't that long of a time ago when I was a beginner, so I can remember quite well what I did to kind of go from beginner to amateur. But for example, all the masters on YouTube who kind of tell you what you need to do to go from beginner to amateur. It was quite a long time ago when they actually were a beginner, but I remember it quite well, and I'll be using the modern day kind of tools I use, so all the online websites, all the training things I did. So yeah, it's very practical, and it is a 4th thing I'll be sharing at the end. It's a bonus one. What is very important, it'll be at the very end. Right, the first thing I'm going to be going over is tactics. Now, I'm sure you've heard it before, tactics. When I was a beginner, I would ask like more advanced players, how do I improve? They would always say tactics, and it just really used to annoy me because I've already heard that before. I want to hear something else. But around the 1000 rating, there is so many like free pieces, there's so many tactics available. For example, like when I'm spectating a 1000s game, there's so many tactics floating that if you just know how to do them, they're normally quite basic, you will like progress a lot. This will definitely be one of the most important things for you going from beginner to amateur. Now look, we're in Lichess right now, lichess.org. Now if you go to the learn here, it says practice, right? Here we have all the checkmates, basic tactics. So we want to go to basic tactics. Now there's 8 of them, as you can see. There's the pin, the skewer, the fork. You get it, right? Now, first of all, if you don't know what a tactic is, it's pretty much a kind of short, kind of a chess move that will win you material in a way. It's kind of like that. It's like a tactic is like it's just kind of a short-term thing you can do to gain you an advantage. So, for example, strategy would be more of kind of a long-term way. All right. So, basic tactics. Now, I used to go over all of these, so I think you should do all of these. I used to do all of these. I used to go over all of these before I play a game, and it takes about like depends how fast you are. The more you do it, the faster you'll get through them. But I definitely recommend doing these. For example, let's go into the fork. Right, these teach you all the basic forks. All the basic tactics. Like here, it tells us what to do on the first move. That's a fork. Okay, we learn what a fork is, right? Okay, now it's not going to tell us what to do. Now we actually have to do it ourselves. And this one's actually quite complicated. But I remember doing it. This one's Queen H1, and we fork. Because when we check, a fork is when you attack 2 pieces at the same time. Right? So learn these basic tactics. They will definitely improve your chess. And that's what I did. So all you have to do is go practice, go basic tactics. And yeah, this will definitely improve your elo. Once you do all of these, you learn all of these. And also, if you're not really sure what they are, I think it does tell you, and you can always look it up online or watch YouTube videos on the individual kind of tactic, for example, the pin. Now, that's the first thing. Now, the second thing that is, it's not so much about, like, kind of training, but it's quite important, right? So it is about training. I only played 10-minute rapid games. Now, the problem is people say, okay, I want to improve, what do I do? They say play longer time games. Now, playing like 15 plus 10 games, for example, I just found that so boring. Like, when I was first starting, like, the idea of just playing such long games, playing classic games, was quite boring. Now, I would not recommend playing blitz games. Okay, I think 10 plus 0 should be the very shortest, and I got all the way to my rating pretty much by playing 10 plus 0. I mean, I also played over the board long games, but playing 10 plus 0 is definitely what you should be playing. Also, 10 plus 5 is also really good, so I recommend 10 plus 0, 10 plus 5, and maybe 15 plus 10, but I don't think you have to do it. But if you really want to, you can. Because 10 plus 0, 10 plus 5, you get lots of games in. I'd probably recommend 10 plus 5 at the very start. Just because it gives you more time to think, but the game is not going that long. So yeah, rapid games, definitely do not play blitz, do not play bullet. Rapid games are definitely where it's at. Now, thirdly, this is quite an important one. Now, I remember learning chess. There's some basic things, very basic fundamental things you have to learn. Now, the next thing you want to do, so you know you're going to do your tactics, you're going to play 10-minute games. This is what I think is probably the most important one, is learning the basic fundamentals and principles of the game. Now, for example, you need to know your very basic king and pawn endgame. This is just one example of a fundamental. You can YouTube them, but I'll give you some examples so you kind of know where to go. For example, a very basic king and pawn endgame in this game. Yeah, you can see it. For example, you need to know how to win these pawn and king endgames. You need to know how to win a king and rook endgame. Stuff like this is very important. Because if you're going to be doing these tactics, you're going to be getting your opponent's pieces off the board. You're going to need to know how to convert with all this winning material. For example, if you want, this is a basic king and pawn endgame. You can, I think you can even play these against a computer. Yeah, practice this. I can even practice this against the computer. So like, I could play it. But for example, if you go onto Lichess, you go onto Learn, and you go onto Practice, you can also go to the Checkmates. Go onto the basic Checkmates. This will really help. Get all of these done. Learning the kind of basic fundamentals, it will really help. Because for example, I'll pull up a game here. Let's pull up a kind of 900, 800 game. Now let's see what I mean with there's pieces everywhere, pieces flying everywhere. Basic kind of opening fundamentals are kind of broken. So make sure you learn your basic principles, fundamentals of the game. So here, this is already kind of violating an opening principle of controlling the center. Now, you need to kind of learn these principles. They're not that hard. For example, here, there's just a free piece after e5. Like, white just leaves his piece hanging, and white misses it. So, just by seeing these simple things, you would definitely get to, say, like, maybe 1,000. Now, a very basic kind of principle that you need to know is undefended pieces. A lot of the time at this kind of beginner rating level, a lot of the pieces are just undefended. Now I'll show you an example. Let's keep playing. Here, castles, bang, and the knight is undefended. It's not many moves in. Keep playing. Here, the rook is undefended now. I mean, I suppose this rook's under attack as well, but now it's undefended. So it's like, a lot of these games, there's just free pieces, there's tactics everywhere. Understand these tactics, get them down, get that pattern recognition down, and you would definitely greatly improve. Now, the fourth thing I'm going to say, what I think is quite important, let's go back here. Fourth thing I'm going to say, what I think is very important, is kind of just sticking with like one opening for white, one opening for black. Don't play over. I would stay openings. For white, I would play e4 because you get an open position. There's more tactics flowing. It teaches you more at the game. So if you're white, I'd probably play e4. And as black, I probably wouldn't play like really advanced openings. I'd probably maybe like avoid like playing like the Najdorf Sicilian. I'll probably just play like e5. Or I mean, you could play like the Caro-Kann. There's different openings you can play, but I would probably avoid playing kind of difficult openings. I'd also avoid playing like Fianchetto. I would probably avoid playing like hyper modern openings. So the openings I'd want to play is like e4, probably as black play e5. I probably wouldn't play the Italian game. I mean, I did, but in the middle games, I think I would play it as a beginner actually. Yeah, as a beginner, the Italian game is fine. I think as like a kind of amateur, the strategy is quite hard. So yeah, so get your basic openings down. Get one for white, one for black. Do not and also now this is kind of, I'm on the bonus tip right now. The one thing you need to do is don't memorize openings. Like you don't want to memorize opening theory. You want to understand it. Understanding the openings is so much more important. For example, if you can memorize 100 lines, you kind of memorize all this stuff. You memorized it. As soon as say you're used to black here castling. As soon as black plays a different move, you don't know what to do. I mean, but you can maybe go with like your normal plan, but it's not going to work as well. So understand the opening, understand the kind of ideas, understand you want to get your pieces out and stuff like that. So hopefully these three things, just to recap, the first thing was it was here, practice, get your basic tactics down, tactics around the 1000 rating. Yeah. Number two is play 10-minute rapid games or 10 plus 5, maybe 15 plus 10, but don't feel the need to play big classical games. Do not play blitz games, do not play bullet games if you do want to improve. They're more just for fun, and they're more based on intuition, and at a beginner level, you don't really have an intuition built up, really. So yeah, they're probably just gonna make you angry when you lose. I would avoid them. Now, thirdly is learn the kind of basic opening fundamentals, the principles, the kind of basic king pawn endgames, just the very kind of basic fundamentals of chess, like you need to know. You can YouTube them, and I definitely recommend doing that because the fundamentals are just they'll like the great players know the fundamentals. They do the basics extremely well. Now for the fourth kind of bonus tip, the fourth bonus tip. So the fourth bonus tip is kind of don't memorize opening theory. Kind of learn your basic openings, one for white, one for black, and try and understand it. And probably play e4, but that's up to you. I would recommend it. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you got any value out of it, please leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments or subscribe so you don't miss another one. And yeah, thank you for watching. I do appreciate that you have just gave me your attention for all these minutes. I'm very grateful, and have a great rest of your day, and I wish you good luck on your journey.